first thing we're gonna work on is actually this piece right now. I wanna see how this thing mounts up. Let's get to work. We're probably gonna end up hanging this bike from the ceiling to get the shock out. One-man style, boys. So that's exactly what we did. We started taking off some of the plastics here, and luckily the Malaguti is actually one of the easiest bikes because this whole rear end is basically one giant panel. You take off a gas cap, a couple bolts for the seat, and then boom, you got the whole thing off. We have it hanging in the air like this. That way we can drop the motor and completely relieve the shock. Right now we're kind of getting a mock-up on the panel, and I can't really tell on what it mounts to at all without having the rear fairing on, but I know we need to paint this thing, so we're working on sanding it down using some 320 grit and then kind of going finer from there until we get this thing roughly a little smooth, and then let's spray it. As you can see, we have the wheel pulled off, and we're doing some deep diving here to try to find what the actual issue is that we are having with this rear end. Now, one major thing that I believe we might have found that could be an issue is the massive amount of gear oil that was in here. Now, I don't know how that happened. That is the most gear oil I've ever seen come out of a scooter gearbox. Maybe because the kickstand tilts so much on this, I was eyeballing it. I don't know, but we're gonna refill that and measure that because that is probably triple the amount that you're supposed to have. I'm not even kidding you. But as you can see, we have some color here on our rotor itself, and that's because our brake pads are squeezing. Now, I'm looking everywhere to see if there's any damage on anything rubbing. There's nothing rubbing. This thing is perfectly straight. I hooked the drill up to it, and I sat here and actually just kind of spun it over, and it is perfectly straight. There's no play in here, so nothing is rubbing on the sides here. So I'm not sure what the issue is. It could be our master, but we will find out again when we change this master and reassemble everything. I got the master over here drying after we hit it with some Steelite paint, so we'll get that assembled and get that thrown on. It's just annoying that both times we fixed this, we haven't really been able to physically see what the issue is. So there's nothing to actually mechanically fix right now. I've checked everything other than the massive amount of gear oil we have in there. But I would assume if we had too much gear oil, it'd be pouring out of the vent line as well, which it was not. I popped the vent line off and there is not even a drop of oil in here. So it's not pouring out the vent line, but that is a crazy amount of oil. After tossing back and forth ideas on what could be the problem for the rear end, I figured it's best to just reassemble this thing and go and try it yet again. So we're bolting everything back up, just double checking everything is lined up perfectly, and as you can see here, this rotor sits exactly centered in this caliper. There's no bend to it. I honestly think the issue must have been with the master because it was pushing pressure on the pads. We have our brand new headset here. We're going to go ahead and swap this over, and as you can see here, the one before was hideous. It had a huge cutout where the master was sitting. It kind of just needed to be done. It was a drum brake setup before, and we needed to fit a reservoir, so we just did what we had to do.